What is going on, everybody? We're Rolling Audio here today on episode 87 of The Harder Show. How are you doing? I hope you're doing fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time to click the play button on today's episode of the podcast. I've got a cool episode for you here today, guys. I'm actually going to give you my top 10 albums of the year 2016. As we are getting ready to near the end of the year, I figured doing something like this would be appropriate. I usually do some kind of a status at the end of the year, kind of talking about my favorite albums and that kind of thing. I've been doing it for the last 10 years, so I figured, you know what, this is the first year I've had a podcast, so I'm going to just talk about it in podcasts instead of doing a status and almost like a blog in a way. I just figured, you know, I'll do a podcast on it because I think some people would be interested in this, so we're going to go into that. But before that, I of course want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever the hell you celebrate. Happy holidays in general, even though I am a Merry Christmas person, because in my opinion, just saying Merry Christmas spreads joy and all that kind of fun stuff. You're wishing somebody well, blah, 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 blah. That is not what we're here to talk about today, but because this is going to be the last podcast before Christmas, as Christmas falls on a Sunday this year, I am definitely not going to be posting a podcast on Christmas, because I think that is just, I think that's a little crazy, because I know that absolutely nobody is going to take time out of their Christmas day to listen to a podcast. So, I mean, if there was anybody, I mean, I would appreciate it, obviously, but I don't think anybody's going to. So I'm just going to go ahead and skip Sunday. Actually, the next couple of weeks are going to be a little bizarre because we have the way that it's going to work out, because I do my podcast every Thursday and Sunday. What I'm going to do is, on this podcast, obviously is dropping today on Thursday the 22nd. The next podcast I do will be the Thursday, which is going to be, I believe, the 27th. I think. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to pull up my calendar to make sure I have the right date here. So yeah, it's actually going to be the 29th. The next episode is going to drop, and then after that, I'm actually going to be taking a little break, just for the week, as again, I feel with heading into the new year and that kind of thing, there's so much going on, so many people are so busy, I think it'd be best just to take a week off, kind of let everybody enjoy their time, kind of regroup a little bit, and then head back, starting back up probably on either the 12th or sometime that week, that second week of January. We'll see what happens. I want to try and get some podcasts done during my week off, if possible, with some people. Just kind of have them, pre-recorded and that kind of thing. But we'll see what happens, as it's Christmas and it's the holidays. It is a very busy time of year for everybody. People barely have time to listen to podcasts. I know I haven't. I'm very behind on all my podcasts that I usually listen to, so I really need to catch up. Not to mention the fact that there's so many podcasts I listen to now that it's just, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. But either way, so like I said, this episode is going to be up today, obviously on the 22nd, and then we'll have one on the 29th, which is actually going to be kind of a New Year's year kind of retrospect, I guess, if you will, and then we're going to take a little bit of time to kind of enjoy the holidays fully. If there's anybody who, I know some people have said they're a little behind on the podcast, so give you guys maybe some time to catch up while you're, doing your thing, and then we'll start back up fresh in the new year. I'm very excited. I think that it's been a good year, but I'll kind of talk about that more next week. But I hope that everyone enjoyed my Christmas album ad that I put up just the other day. Doing that, it was something that I didn't know how it was going to be received. I wanted people to understand that it was a joke, and I recorded the vocal tracks for it behind some terrible karaoke and that kind of thing, and I sent it to the producer, Brandon Bowden, producer of The Harder Show, the Kevin Dunn of The Harder Show, ladies and gentlemen, and said, you can do some voiceover stuff for it. And of course, he was like, absolutely. And he sent me back the track that I posted. And I mean, he made it sound so good and professional. And everyone who's checked it out has gotten a serious kick out of it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm actually going to post it a little bit later on in the podcast, so you can check it out. It's basically a ad for my Christmas album, featuring some takes from the recording room floor. It's a joke and it's funny, so I hopefully you guys enjoy it. But thank you for everyone who shared it. It was definitely very cool to see how far that spread. It was really cool. So thank you for that. I really hope you enjoyed it and got a laugh out of it. I want to take a second to give a shout out to my boys at Fork Found Reviews podcast for giving me such a wonderfully nice shout out. If you guys hadn't checked out that episode, you should really check it out. Those guys are awesome. They're hilarious, but aside from the fact that it's a great podcast, they gave me this really, really, really nice, sincere shout out, and it was really cool. Warmed my heart, made me a little teary eyed. Not gonna lie. The fact that someone who I don't really know, would put over my podcast that much and myself that much, it was really cool. So shout out again to those guys. Thank you guys for being so awesome and for just keeping me entertained throughout the last few weeks that I've been checking out your podcast. I look forward to checking out more in the future, and maybe one day getting on with you guys and trying to talk about a movie. I have no idea what I'd talk about, but I would definitely do my best, and definitely want to have you guys on sometime on the podcast to have a chat about some stuff. I also need to take a second to address something. You guys saw the other day that I posted my Boys to Think About podcast. Had a little nice little episode there just yesterday, actually, about troll hunting. And there were some controversial things said, a little bit of a roast about me. I would like to reiterate, I had a couple of my buddies who checked it out. They were like, dude, like, what the hell was that? I would like to reiterate, it was obviously a joke. They hit me up beforehand. Raph hit me up beforehand and said, is it cool if I say this? I think it's funny, them kind of roasting me. I think that's cool. I think it's funny, the fact that the episode was about trolling and that kind of thing. It was a great episode. It was a great little roast. It's funny how the day before I put up Fork Found Reviews kind of episode with them putting me over so much, and then, the next day I put up a episode of another podcast that I'm buddies with roasting me. I thought that was pretty funny. It was good. It was funny. So boys, keep doing your thing. I would say to check out their social media and shit, but I mean, they don't update the fucking thing anyway. They're complaining that I'm making them do this stuff because I'm tagging them and commenting and shit, and then they don't even update it anyway. So I don't know what's up with that, guys. You gotta get on that. Because I mean, I got people asking what's going on with this. Are they a podcast anymore? Whatever. Unless I'm the one who shares it, I don't know. It's all in good fun here, folks. Shout out to the Think About podcast. Thank you for entertaining me and making me laugh as well. And for the nice little roast. That was my attempt of a roast of you guys. So I'm not as good at that. But either way, moving on from that, shout out to both Fork Found Reviews and the Think About podcast, two of my favorite podcasts this past year that have kept me entertained. But I have a feeling you'll hear a little bit more about that next week. All that out of the way, we are going to roll into this top 10 albums list of the year. Let's get into it. All right, so who's ready for a top 10 list? I know I am. We are talking, of course, today about the top 10 albums and EPs of the year. Like I said, this is more of a list of ones that I've kind of had on repeat and I've been playing all year. Not necessarily ones that I think are the best. So it doesn't matter if it's an album from a Metal Legends or a local band. Every single release of this year is fair game. I give each album, kind of give it a little blurb about it, talk about a couple songs that I dig off the album, and of course I give my favorite track off each one. Now these aren't necessarily in order. Like I said, my top 5 kind of is in order because I think that those are some of the best albums of the year, but my first 5 aren't really in any order specifically. But either way, these are just all albums since they've come out I've been just playing on repeat. So if you're looking for some new music to check out this holiday season, definitely check these albums out, because there's some very, very, very good albums this past year. Now, I should say that I feel like I missed a lot this year. I feel like there's some music out there that I am not aware of, that I just missed, mainly because this has been my first full year doing the podcast. So I've been kind of getting more into the podcast and the podcasting community, if you will. So a lot of my spare time that I would spend, I used to spend playing and listening to music, I spend a lot of time listening and playing podcasts now. Whether I'm recording my own, or I'm listening to podcasts, or I'm listening back to my podcast and any of them, that's what a lot of my time that I used to spend listening to new music and music is spent doing now. And I mean, I love that. I love podcasts and that kind of thing. But so if there's any albums that you feel should be on my list, that you think I would dig, definitely let me know, because I kind of just immersed myself in the podcasting this year. So if there's an album that you're like, man, I cannot believe TJ didn't have this album on his list, he should really check it out, hit me up and let me know. You can comment right now on any of the mediums you're listening to. Hit me up on the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, email, whatever you need to do. Let me know, because I will definitely check it out. And if you're a local band or an unsigned band or anything like that, also hit me up and let me know about your album, because I do have some local unsigned bands on this list, because everybody to me is fair game. So if that is the case, be sure to let me know. And of course, like I said, let me know what your guys' favorite albums of the year are, because I feel like there was a lot of just awesome music this year. As much as it was kind of a rough year for music, with the passing of a lot of legendary figures, obviously David Bowie, obviously Leonard Cohen, the two that come to mind right off the bat. It was a rough year, but I still think it was a great year for music. But without further ado, I just kind of want to roll into the list here. Right off the bat, I want to give an honorable mention to a band, because they didn't actually release the full EP this year. I'm not sure if maybe they are going to the next week or two. I highly doubt it. I wanted to get this list out before heading into the actual kind of Christmas and New Year's weeks. So if they do happen to release it, then it'd be on this list, I'm sure. But that band is Fear the Unknown, a local band from Bowmanville. They released a killer single. It's called Termination. I actually played it for you guys on the podcast a little while ago. Like I said, they don't qualify for this list just because they didn't release an actual EP or album this year. But I had to mention them just because friggin' that song is awesome. So definitely check Fear the Unknown out if you want to. You want to listen to some good kind of metalcore, just solid stuff. It's a great song. And I want to give them a quick honorable mention shout out, because I do feel like they would have been on this list if they just had have released the EP this year. And that's not a shot at them or anything at all like that. They're my buddies. Just I wanted to give them a shout out on this list. But starting off at number 10, an album that I had on repeat almost all friggin' year since it came out was Asking Alexandria's album The Black. Now, this is really, really interesting, because this was almost like a comeback return to roots album for the band with their new singer, Dennis. Even though kind of everything has gone down the way it has, in my opinion, this album was a pretty big success. It had a touch of their kind of old school sound that so many of their fan base was begging them to go back to. I mean, when they released From Death to Destiny, which is an amazing album, I love that record. So many of their fans were like, oh my God, like, what is this? This sounds like rock. Go back to your roots, blah, 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 blah. And they kind of did that with this record. There was some more solid metalcore-y, if you will, parts. But it was still them kind of moving forward. It wasn't them like, oh, look, we sound like we used to, like us again. There was still some evolution, and it was very, very great. Obviously, the song itself, The Black, it's probably going to have to be my favorite track off the record, just because it's such a cool song, such a unique kind of vibe to it. It was also like all over the radio. I was hearing it all the time. It was insane, especially because I got satellite radio this past year, so I heard it a lot. So it got stuck in my head very, very quickly. And I mean, two other songs that I loved off this record. Let It Sleep, which is the first actual song on the record. I really like that song. That's definitely a close contender for me for another one of my favorite one of my favorite songs off this record. And also, Slave to the Rock and Roll is a great tune. It's very unique for them. There's kind of some cool like lead kind of wah pedal parts and that kind of thing. It was really different for them. Almost what I feel like they would sound like if Danny had stayed in the band for this album cycle. Like I said, it's a great record. It's very interesting because now that Dennis has left the band and Danny is back in, it's going to be really interesting and kind of weird to see what happens because I feel like they were kind of heading in this direction with Dennis. I feel like their next record was going to be very, very, a lot more kind of refined. And then now that I guess Danny's back, we have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, I'm excited because I preferred Danny, obviously. I think From Death to Destiny was a great record. I felt like they were heading in the direction of becoming one of the biggest like metal rock bands in the world, in my opinion anyway. As much as I know a lot of people like to hate on Asking Alexandria, I actually really liked From Death to Destiny, and I really like this album, The Black. So definitely check it out. Very good record. If you haven't even heard the single, The Black, at least check that out first. And from there, you'll probably go, okay, this is pretty damn good. And because it really is a great, great record. Now, my number 9 is a band by the name of Drowning Pool, which you guys, I'm sure, know Drowning Pool. Everyone knows Bodies, let the bodies hit the floor. Yes, amazing song, great song, don't get me wrong. But this is a band that I've always been a fan of ever since I first heard them. I followed them throughout all their records up until the latest record this past year. And to me, it's kind of sad because I find a lot of people, they don't really seem to be paying attention to what they're doing now. People are like, oh yeah, I love Bodies and I love this song and this song. It's like, yo, have you heard the new record? And people, sometimes their response is almost like, well, why? It's like, there's some amazing stuff on this record. This last record, Hallelujah. It's a solid as hell offering. Like ever since they lost their original singer, they've released some awesome records, and I feel like a lot of people have just kind of not ignored them, but they've definitely kind of just not been just paying attention. I don't really know how else to say it, because when you ask people like, oh, did you hear the last record even? They're like, oh yeah, like One Finger and a Fist, it's pretty good. And I'm like, dude, like there was so much other stuff on that record that is so great. And this record, there's some amazing stuff. By the Blood, which was the first song I heard off the record. It was the first single. I first heard it and I was like, you know what? This is going to be a good record. It's a great single. It's hooky. It's heavy. It's a typical kind of hard rock metal, beat your chest. You're going to remember me by the blood on your shirt, buddy. So I get it. But for me, what did it with this record was the fact that I heard a song. And it was kind of a fluke because I heard By the Blood and I'm like, this is going to be a good record, but I wasn't crazy interested off that first single. And I actually heard Snake Charmer and I was like, whoa, what the hell is this? It's such a cool, groovy tune off this record. It's definitely my pick and favorite song off this record. If you're going to look up one song off this record, definitely look up Snake Charmer. It's such an awesome hook to it and groove, very unique for Drowning Pool. I almost kind of was a song they did while Ryan was still in the band, and it was a song that was off god damn it, I can't remember the name of the record right now, but I think it was the second record they did with Ryan while he was in the band, and it's entitled Shame You, and it's a really, really cool kind of groovy, almost, I hate to say it, but almost kind of Alice in Chainsy feel to it. And it's really groovy and unique, and that's my favorite song from them. But this song, Snake Charmer, it has this groove to it that is very cool. It's hard to explain. You have to look it up. Snake Charmer, Drowning Pool. This whole record is great, but those are two songs that stand out to me mostly. Snake Charmer is definitely my favorite one. Drowning Pool hasn't disappointed at all in their career with any records. So, I mean, if you like old Drowning Pool, you're going to like this Drowning Pool. I mean, straight up, just go check the record out. Go buy the record, support them because they're an awesome band. A band that's been through a lot of bullshit, and they definitely deserve your attention and your support because they are seriously awesome. Not to mention, they actually liked and shared my Facebook post when I put it up saying I liked Snake Charmer. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. But that doesn't mean that that's why they're on this list. But either way, definitely check out Drowning Pool and their record Hallelujah. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Now, my next one, number 8, is another band that kind of has been through a couple singers. Actually, this guy, he was the original singer of the band, and then he left. Another guy came in, and now he's back again. So kind of an interesting dynamic. My first three album picks. But that band is Killswitch Engage. I'm of course talking about Jesse, the singer, and their song Incarnate. Sorry, their album Incarnate. This is the second album since Jesse's been back that they've done, and from what I understand, it's the first full writing process that they had with Jesse when they released the first record when he was back. From what I understood, most of it was already written, so it was kind of like, they didn't really get that. Jesse basically wrote the lyrics, which is awesome. Jesse's an amazing lyricist, but definitely you hear kind of more of a unity in this record, and it's really, really awesome. I first heard Strength of the Mind, and I was like, you know what? This is a really cool, unique song. I think some people were kind of like, not turned off, but they were like, whoa, like this is kind of different. It's still Killswitch Engage, but it's just, I think some people were kind of like, oh, okay, like we get it. It's going to be kind of really different. And then they released Hate by Design, which it's got to be one of my favorite Killswitch Engage songs. And I'm a massive, massive, massive Howard Jones fan. I love Howard Jones. He's one of my favorite vocalists ever. But friggin' Jesse Leach on this record, as far as I'm concerned, he performs on the same level as Howard. I know a lot of people kind of I always read comments on the YouTube and stuff. Oh, why can't Howard just be back in the band? Jesse's okay, but he's not Howard. Me. Just shut up about that. But at the end of the day, Jesse's performance on Hate by Design is amazing. It's got this brutal, heavy intro. Friggin' the almost like, I picture it like, when you have verses like these, it's almost like he's like boxing with the microphone. It's kind of like a jabby kind of deal where it's heavy, but it's like he has that. He's not necessarily kind of like screaming. He's like almost like just yelling at you. And then it heads into the pre-chorus and it's heavy as shit. And then it goes melodic, and then it goes into the chorus. Hate by Design probably is definitely one of my favorite choruses, like from Killswitch Engage for sure. The second I heard it, it was stuck in my head, and it's literally been stuck in my head, guys, for, well, shit, when did the record come out? I want to say like July or May, I want to say, somewhere around there. I'm probably way off, but whenever that record came out, I literally played that song on repeat. You can ask Sam. I was playing that song on repeat. Like I said, since the record came out. Amazing song. Cut Me Loose is another track on this record that you definitely need to check out. It really stands alone. It's definitely a very deep song, kind of overcoming personal struggles and darkness, so on and so forth. Very, very good song. I think they released it as a single not all that long ago. I think it was about a month or two ago. I saw they released a video for it. Very, very good song. Definitely some very deep meaning. Jesse's always been an amazing lyricist. And definitely on this record, he shows it. I highly, highly recommend you guys check out this record because it is definitely worth your time, especially if you were a fan of kind of Killswitch when they were not at their biggest, because as far as I'm concerned, they're still, they're headlining and all this kind of shit. So, they're still just as big as they ever were, but kind of at their main peak when kind of that 2000s, mid-2000s kind of metalcore scene really exploded. If you're a fan of that era of Killswitch Engage, definitely check this out because it's an amazing stuff. Don't listen to all the stupid YouTubers and all that kind of thing who think they know what the hell they're talking about, talking shit basically about all that kind of stuff. But moving on with my list here, I have number 7, I have Tremonti with their album Dust. Now, I don't have a whole lot to say about this record because it's a good freaking record. Tremonti is, of course, Mark Tremonti from Creed and Alter Bridge's side band. I don't even want to call it a side band anymore, actually, because like it's literally, as far as I'm concerned, getting just as big as Alter Bridge in a way. It is a kind of, he called it a speed metal side project, but that's not really what it is. They're kind of like just metalcore, hard rock. Tremonti does vocals and plays guitar, obviously. Every single record he's released with Tremonti has been freaking amazing. Dust is no exception. It's definitely the best record he's released with the band. You can tell they've really gelled as a unit. Their writing is superb. Having Wolfgang Van Halen come in the band and play bass, it definitely brings an interesting dynamic to everything. My Last Mistake, which is the first song on the record. It's one I, again, literally played on repeat like all year. It's so groovy and so heavy. It's just awesome. Dust has such a cool melody and melodic feel to it. Mark Tremonti, he does this cool... He has such a cool way of writing these songs that like they can be heavy. Like My Last Mistake, like when you hear it, you're like, this is going to be so heavy. Like he's going to like scream at me. And then he starts singing and you're like, whoa, he's singing. And then like, but it's heavy. And you're just like, what the hell? Like it's so good. If you have not checked out Tremonti for some weird reason, if you're like, oh, he played guitar in Creed, I'm not going to listen to this because it's not going to be metal, blah, 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 blah. Can you tell I'm annoyed with people sometimes? Definitely check this record out. It is seriously good. Check Tremonti out. This is the record to check out if you haven't heard anything by them. Dust is just, it's a great offering. Look up My Last Mistake and Dust, and you will hear exactly what I mean. There's amazing songs on this record other than that, but those are two that I highly recommend. Definitely My Last Mistake is my favorite track off that record, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, moving on to number 6 is one of my all-time favorite bands, Crowbar, with their album The Serpent Only Lies. Now, guys, it's Crowbar, okay? Crowbar are always heavy, and they're always going to have amazing songs. This record is absolutely no exception. Heavy as hell, one of the heaviest records from them for sure. Not heavy in the sense of like their old school heavy sound. It's new school. Crowbar they're one of those bands that just, they are continuing to progress while still kind of paying homage to where they came from. I feel like this record, more than any record they've done the last couple offerings, really has that kind of old school Crowbar vibe to it. I don't know if it's the tonality of it or if just Kirk kind of focused more on his riffing. I don't know what it was, but the tonality and the music sounded more like old school Crowbar, whereas his lyrics and his melodies and his vocals were definitely fully new school and were unique and melodic and still heavy as shit, man. Kirk's definitely one of the most underrated metal vocalists as far as I'm concerned. He does an amazing job. He always does. But there's some brutal parts on this record still. Like I said, a lot of friggin' melody. A song like Surviving the Abyss is a perfect example of this. I believe that was a 4th song. Because it starts off very melodic, but you know, Kirk comes in and he's doing his like his voice is so unique and it's so heavy, but at the same time it's so melodic, and that's one reason why I love Crowbar so much. Definitely my favorite song on this record definitely has to be As I Heal, which is the final track of the album. That seems to be a thing for me. Every single Crowbar record, I love the last track. It's definitely kind of unique. It's got a great riff. I think that's why I love this song so much, because I love the riff so much. Lyrically, it's great. The chorus has this really awesome kind of steady head banging beat. You just kind of sit there and bop your head, and it just works. It is this awesome song. The Serpent Only Lies, the single The Serpent Only Lies, which is obviously the title track of this record, is awesome as well. Falling While Rising was the single. It's awesome. Definitely check the single out if you want to kind of hear what this record's about. I feel like that single gives a really, really good representation of this record, but there is some amazing, amazing, amazing stuff on here. I've talked about Crowbar before because I love Crowbar so much. I feel like they're a band that is definitely very underrated. If you have never checked out Crowbar, now is the time. Check this record out. The Serpent Only Lies. Now, my number 5 is a record that just didn't come out all that long ago. I'm sure no one will be surprised by this. I have had this record on repeat since it came out. Mainly a few songs off the record. But like I said, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by this at all. And that, of course, is Metallica, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Now, I should say, I was very scared for this record. Let me explain why. When I heard Hardwired, I was not impressed. I was like, what the hell is this? The music was cool. It was riff heavy. And I was like, yes, I dig it. And then cuts into the verse. And I'm like, okay, like it's old school. It's cool. Then I heard the chorus. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, musically it's pretty cool. And as I kept listening to it, I'm like, oh, this song's gonna grow on me, and I'm still not a fan of it. It's the only song on the record I'm not really a big fan of, and even so, I love the riffage in it so much that I'll still listen to it. Just for me, I don't know, just the chorus, and I quote, "We're fucked, shit out of luck, hardwired to self-destruct." I was like, I mean, I get it, but like, I was like, man, I really hope that the record has much better songs and writing on it than this, because Metallica can definitely do better. And then I heard a little song that was actually the second single, which of course was Moth into Flame. And I was like, okay, we got a record, folks. The chorus on that song, it's Metallica, but it has this kind of new school hook to it that I dig so much. Features Robert doing a little bit of backup vocals. I mean, James always nails his melodies in that, and on this record you really see that big time. So that song really saved the record for me. I was like, man, like if the record is even half as good as the song, then it's going to be a great, great record. And then I heard Dream No More, which I think is pretty much unanimously almost everybody on my friends list's favorite Metallica song right now. It is so good. Dream No More. It sounds like if you took like the Black Album and like Load and just smashed them together, you get Dream No More. It's groovy. The riff is so it's almost intoxicating. It's so good. James's vocals are definitely totally Load era. Still with a new school twist on it. And then it kind of goes into this very unique chorus that again is very remnant of the Load era of Metallica, which is my favorite Metallica. So I really dig that song. It's awesome. I might just give a freaking review of this goddamn record at this point. I was supposed to do a little review with Mr. Dylan Porter of Outshine, but we just haven't been able to hook up to do that yet. We're definitely going to do that at some point. But just overall on this record, the riffs are phenomenal. Spit Out the Bone, obviously, is like the almost cult hit of this record because, everyone's saying it sounds like old Metallica. They sound like pissed off young men again, and everyone loves it. And I agree. That is a great, great song. But in my opinion, the best song on this record is one that I feel like it's very, very underrated because I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. And that's Here Comes Revenge. The lyrics on this song, the melody on this song is so cool. The riffs are awesome. It's old school Metallica with kind of a different flair on it. Again, kind of, there are some moments that feel remnant of the Load era of Metallica, while still having that, the chorus is very Metallica. The verse is very different. Lars and Robert kind of doing that almost, it sounds like a heartbeat. James says in the video where they were making, he's like, it's the heartbeat of metal. And it's just like, it's so cool. And it's been stuck in my head. Actually, the verses are what's been stuck in my head. And the riff. It's all been stuck in my head. The chorus is great. It has another reason why I love the song so much is the video. The video is so like just out there and weird. I highly, highly recommend checking it out. If you've heard, I'm sure you've heard this record. If you're listening to this, you've probably heard it already. But if for some reason you haven't heard Here Comes Revenge, check it out because it is absolutely amazing. It's my favorite song on this record for sure. In all, it's an amazing record. Atlas Rise is a great song. Mankind's a great song. So many good songs on this record. I mean, I can just sit here and do a full review of it, but that's not why we're here today. So definitely, if you have not for some bizarre reason checked out new Metallica, or if you were turned off from Hardwired, check out the rest of the record because I promise you, there is some very, very good stuff on that record. Definitely at least check out Moth into Flame and Here Comes Revenge because I think you hear those songs and you'll go, okay, I got you. But there's some really, really good stuff on this record. Halo on Fire is awesome as well. Kind of a new school, old school Metallica mix. Really, really good tune. But yeah, that's my that's Metallica. That's my number 5 spot. All right, guys, just want to take a quick second here to give a big shout out to the first ever sponsor and big time supporter of the Harder Show, my man, Mr. Jason Reese over at Jaybird Digital Arts. Now, what exactly does Jason do? Well, if you guys need any kind of logos, t-shirts, posters, album design, tickets, photo manipulation, you guys still with me? Advertising, business stationery, mailers, brochures, fine art, and literally anything else you can think of, Jaybird Digital Arts can create it. No project is just a generic template, and every single job is a new opportunity to create something unique. Jason's done all the Harder Show logos, t-shirts, banners, and even a meme here and there, so I can promise you that you will love and be inspired by what Jason comes up with. You can find him on the web at www.jaybird, that's Jaybird, digitalarts.com. Or you can find him on Facebook under the Jaybird Digital Arts handle, as well as on Instagram. If you happen to use his services, be sure to let him know that TJ sent you.
Harder Show Studios presents to you A Lit as Fuck Christmas, a Christmas album from the world-famous podcaster TJ Hodder himself. Join him as he takes you on a journey through all your favorite Christmas classics like Jingle Bell Gibberish,
Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell, Jingle Bell Rock, a Jingle Bell Swag, the Jingle Bells Clang, and Jingle Bell.
Let Me Wish You a Merry Christmas Before I Sneeze,
my Harry Little Christmas, and Jack Frosty's
Rudolph, Shiny Nose, Social Nightmare,
the red-nosed reindeer, the nose that was shiny and red.
And of course the penultimate classic, I Saw Mother Getting Violated by Santa Claus and Decided Not to Report It to the Authorities.
I saw my mother kissing Santa Claus. It was underneath the mistletoe last night.
This 268-track classic is a staple of any holiday music collection and could be yours for just 18 low, easy payments of $39.95. Call now. Supplies are limited. The Hodder Show is not responsible for any side effects this album may cause, including diarrhea, vomiting, tooth decay, tooth loss, sudden feelings related to manifest destiny, whooping cough, malaria, the urge to become committed in a long-distance relationship, or death.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Okay, so now these next 4 albums and EPs, guys, this is where it gets really tricky for me because these 4, there definitely have been my favorite albums and EPs of the year. All of these records I've literally played on repeat. Like, I can't even tell you these full records, not 1 or 2 songs or 3 songs, these full records on repeat ever since they came out. There are 2 actual local bands in this that I don't think people will be surprised once they realize who they are. But definitely all these records. If there's a couple records you're going to check out off this list, if you don't already know what they are, definitely these next 4 records are those records because they are just literally that damn good. Now, the first one, my number 4. is by a band, a local band from Bowmanville, Ontario, and their name is Out of My League. Now, I've talked about these guys a shit ton on the podcast. They were a band that did one of my theme songs for probably, I think it was one of the longest reigning theme songs on the Hodder Show, actually. It was actually from their first EP, but the EP that I want to talk about, or album, whatever you want to call it, is their offering of this year, Resented. Now, if for some bizarre reason you have not heard Resented, you need to go right now, pause this podcast, go on YouTube, type in Out of My League, Resented. You can listen to the entire album through streaming on their YouTube channel. I promise you, if you are a fan of metalcore, hardcore, you are going to love this freaking record. Guys, every single song on this EP record, I'm just going to call it a fucking record from here on out, is amazing. The writing on this is so good. The guys have really come into their own with this record, and I feel like this the kind of the direction they're going is exactly where they need to go. It's metalcore, and it's familiar in the sense of if you're into that kind of thing, but it's still different. It's different enough that you're like, okay, these guys bring something else to the table other than just gung 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 gung. Not that there's anything wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but these guys definitely have a unique take on it. Some of the songs on the record, like the self-titled song "Resented" itself, is a great song. The intro of this record is friggin' great. "Resented," "A Loaded Gun," just really, really great stuff. "Spineless," which is actually the second song on the record, makes me want to flip over a table every time I hear it. "Recover" is a song that I have not been moved by a song like the way that "Recover" moved me in a long time. When I had Dom on the podcast earlier this year, episode 40 and 41, I want to say, we were talking about it, and this is a song that it's the first song that they've ever done that has clean vocals. And Dom knocks it out of the park. You know, I always said I knew that guy could sing. I knew it. And it gets heavy, and it's just, it is awesome. I mean, this is a song that literally I had to pull my car over because I was getting so emotional because of what it was making me feel. And for that reason, it was my favorite song on this record for a very long time. Most of the year, I've been playing it on repeat. But the song that I always go back to, I seem to go back to all the time, is "Blind." Now, this song, it is unique. It is heavy as shit, guys. Like, it's kick you in the chest heavy. It's punch you in the face heavy. It's drag you across the floor heavy. It's everything you need. And then it gets melodic as shit. And it's awesome. And the dynamics of this song are so great. Features the singer from Falsifier, and he does an amazing job. Just, it's great. If you're only going to look up one song on this EP to kind of get the gist of what it is, look up "Blind." Like I said, it's so good, guys. Like, just, this is the next two, my next two spots. If you're only going to check out one or two records from this list, check out this one. This is one of them you need to check out, mainly because these are, you know, obviously, yeah, these are guys I know. This has nothing to do with why they're on the list. These are literally records I've just been playing on repeat. If I wasn't playing it on repeat, it wouldn't be on this list, you know? Very, very, very good stuff. You need to check it out. Even if you're not necessarily a huge fan of metalcore, check out "Recover," which, like I said, it's the last song. If you go on the stream of the album, I believe they have it kind of set up so that you can I think if you look in the track description, you can skip to whatever song. Check out "Recover," because I promise you, you're going to be like, oh, this is pretty freaking cool. And that it's amazing song. But I think Blind is definitely I think it's the best song on the record. It's definitely my favorite song on the record now. But like I said, Out of My League, Resented. Give them some love on Facebook as well. Just search Out of My League. Check them out because they're great guys. A really, really awesome band. Definitely heading into the new year, I want to have the guys on again. I've had them on the podcast a couple times, and I still haven't talked with Ali yet. And I really want to chat with Ali. Obviously, Dom, Anthony have been on the podcast a few times. Steven came on the podcast with them when I had Dom, Anthony, and Steven on. Haven't had Ali on yet, so Ali, if for some reason you're listening, buddy, shout out to you. I want to have you on the damn podcast. We'll chat at some point in the new year. Now, my number 3 spot. Now, this might be, given what I said about there being 2 local bands, this one's probably going to be pretty predictable. And I'm probably going to get some flack for it because it's very predictable. And that is Outshined and their self-titled EP, Outshined. If you're looking for a solid as shit, like just straight up hard rock band, you check out Outshine and this EP, because I did a full review of this record on episode 70, so I'm not going to talk a crazy amount about it, but it is solid, straight up hard rock and roll, really great stuff. Amazing lyrics, great melody, great guitar work, great bass work, great drum work. The Outshine guys they're just all just like awesome dudes. So the fact that they also make great music is so wonderful for me, because it's not like, okay, say they're my buddies and they release an album that's not the greatest. I mean, I'd still be like, yeah, guys, check it out. But like, I was lying to you, right? Because I'm not good at that kind of stuff. So the fact that it's solid as hell makes it so much easier for me. The fact that literally I've been playing it on repeat and songs have been stuck in my head, it makes it so much easier for me because it's really that good of a record. In the Garden is a standout track for me. I love that song. Shut is a standout track for me. I love that song. Garden, it's not Garden, oh my god. Sunrise, which is the ballad on the record. It's great. It's a radio single. Straight up. All the songs on this record are radio singles, but I keep wanting to say Garden, even though it's in the Garden, and then Sunrise. When you hear Sunrise, you'll know what I mean. It's literally this like beautiful, sappy ballad, and I kind of was breaking their balls about it at first, but it's so good. Just check it out. Situation Overload is a great song, great kind of very rock and roll forward rock song. Really dig it. Set Me Free. It's awesome. One of my favorite rock intros I've ever heard. But my favorite song on the record, which I don't think this should be a surprise to anybody. It's a song that has literally been stuck in my head since I first heard it, like 4 years ago. And that song is Why, which is actually the intro and outro for this podcast. It was my first intro and outro when it was a demo version. And it's my current intro and outro right now from the record. I don't think it should be a surprise to anybody that that's my favorite song on the record. I love that song. I think that is a huge rock hit waiting to happen. When they were on 94.9 The Rock for Generation Next, there was a small part of me that was like, come on, 94.9 The Rock, let's go ahead and just, pick up this whole record to play because it's that good. My opinion, it's better than some of the stuff on the radio right now, but I digress. I cannot wait to hear more Outshined. I am so pumped. I have the privilege of being able to call those guys buddies and friends. So I do get a very small sneak peek once in a blue moon of a riff or two, and I can promise you that they are only going to get better from here. So definitely check out Shined Out, the record, self-titled EP. Very, very good stuff. If you're only going to check out 1 or 2 records off this list, I implore you to make Outshine's EP one of them, because it is that freaking good. If you have trouble finding it for some reason, let me know. Like I said, you can go back to episode 70. I play each song in its entirety on the podcast, and I kind of give it my review of each one. So definitely check it out. I actually did give it a 10 out of 10. So, I mean, it's definitely one of my favorite records of this year for sure. Definitely my favorite rock record of the year, 100%. Like, amazing, amazing stuff. Definitely check out Outshine's self-titled EP. Now, we get into my number 2 spot. Now, guys, this number 1 and number 2 were very, 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 very hard for me. Like I said, these top 4s have been like almost impossible. But these two, because they're such different records, one is just, it's heavy, it's to the point, it's exactly kind of what you would expect from this band, but still with some slight differences. Whereas the other record, I wasn't familiar with this band really until this record in this year. I'm still not that familiar with their catalog. I'm going back and listening to more now. And that band is Gojira, which their album Magma holds my second spot as my second favorite album of this year that I've had on repeat. Oh, what can I say about Magma? If you're into metal, rock, hard rock, prog, anything like that, check this record out. Gojira, all these like legendary metal guys are saying that this is like the best record of the year, and I do not disagree with them on that. Mark Tremonti said it was his favorite record of the year. I believe I saw Kirk Hammett say the same thing. This album is amazing. Yeah, Gojira is one of those bands that, you know, they're heavy, but they can be melodic, and they can punch you in the face and make you bang your head to the point where your neck's sore, and then they can kind of like just go melodic as hell. The first song off this record, Shooting Star, it's great. It has such an awesome groovy as hell riff, but it's very melodic at the same time. Almost I get a vibe of like almost prog, but like it's not prog, you know, the songs aren't 15-minute long songs. You know, prog music gets really good about 11 minutes in. My favorite quote ever about prog music from my cousin. Gojira, this record, the singles are a very good representation of this record. The second song, which is also a single, I think it was the first single, but I'm not sure. It was Sylvia, something like that. Very, very good. Very heavy. Brutally heavy. Very, very good. But this record has so much more to offer than just heavy metal, hard rock music. The vocalist, his voice, he probably has one of my favorite voices in music, metal music right now. Because his like yell scream is just so brutally heavy, but it's melodic. It's very unique. He very much shows that off on this record, and the guitar playing is phenomenal. But for this record, and for this year, actually, I have to pick this song not only as my favorite off this record, but my favorite song of the year, because literally I have been playing it on repeat, which is a big theme here on this list. I'm still playing it on repeat today, right here, right now, before I sat down and did this podcast. I was playing that song on repeat. I mean, I'm playing the whole record on repeat, but when this song comes on, I find myself playing it again and again and again. And that's been going on. It's also a song that I learned the second I heard it. I had to learn it because the riff is so awesome and simple, which is some of my favorite kind of music. When you got a good, solid, heavy riff and it's simple and hooky as shit. It definitely has like the hookiest chorus of the year. I love it so much. That song is called Stranded. Now, if you haven't heard this song, go on YouTube right now and look it up. I'll wait. Wasn't that freaking awesome? Like, did you hear that? Did you hear that song? Tell me it was not freaking amazing, okay? Hopefully you went and actually looked up the songs. If you didn't, that's going to make no freaking sense. But that's okay. That riff, it's so simple. And I show everybody I've showed this song to has had the same reaction. At first, they're kind of like, "Yeah, it's pretty good, man." And then like a day or two later, they'll message me and be like, "I can't. Like, it's too good." And I'm like, exactly. I think it's the coarse guitar work, because it's just power chords. Don't lock the door on me. Here I'm telling you how the friggin' song goes. You just probably just listen to it. It's really good, guys. This record from a band that, the fact that I didn't know these guys before this year that well, and now they're like, I wouldn't say they're one of my favorite bands, but they're definitely getting there. Really, 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 really good stuff. Stranded. I'm sure I'm going to be listening to that song well into the new year, because it's just, it is that good. I don't have a physical copy of this CD, and I may think I maybe get one for Christmas, possibly. We'll see what happens, but it's definitely a record I want a copy of, a physical copy of, 'cause it's that good. Very, very good stuff. Highly, highly recommend you guys check it out. Again, it was by a band called Gojira. I'll spell that out for you because it's kind of different. Goj, as in Jamie, IRA, Gojira, with their album Magma. Very good. Check it out if you're a metal fan, rock fan, hard rock fan, prog fan. You'll friggin' love this record. Check it out. But alright, we are at our number one spot with my top 10 albums I have been on repeat this year. So I figured we'll do a quick recap. We had number 10, we had Asking Alexandria with their album The Black. A song you should definitely check out from that is entitled The Black. Number 9, I had Drowning Pool with their album Hallelujah. Definitely the song to check out from that record is Snake Charmer. Number 8, we had Killswitch Engage with their album Incarnate. Definitely the song you should check out from that record was Hate by Design, but also Cut Me Loose is another really, really good one. Number 7, we had Tremonti with their album Dust. Definitely the songs to check out from that one are My Last Mistake and the self-titled song Dust. Number 6, we had Crowbar with The Serpent Only Lies. Definitely the songs to check out from that is Falling While Rising. My personal favorite off that record is also As I Heal. Number 5, we have Metallica with their album Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Definitely the biggest album of this year that's on the record. Sorry, the biggest album of this year that is on my list. Song to check out from that is definitely Here Comes Revenge, Dream No More, Halo on Fire. Just check out the whole friggin' record. It's that good. But Here Comes Revenge is my personal favorite. Number 4, we had Out of My League with their album Resented. Song to check out from that is Blind and Recover. Definitely one of the albums, if you're only going to check out one or two albums from this list, definitely check this one out, as Out of My League are a local band and are very, very awesome. Number 3 spot was Outshined with their EP Outshine, self-titled. The song to check out from that is Why. Basically just listen to this podcast and you'll hear some of it. Definitely check them out. Very awesome local band again. Definitely check out the record. Very, very good stuff. Great, solid, straight up rock and roll. My number 2 spot, I had Gojira with their album Magma, and the song to check out from that is Stranded, which is my actual song of the year. It has to be, because I love that song so much. And now we come to our number 1 spot. I don't think a lot of people will be surprised with this being my number 1 spot, as this is one of my favorite bands. They always release good stuff. The last 3 albums they've done have been amazing. Ever since I've gotten into them, whenever they release an album, it's always incredible. This record is absolutely no exception. I feel that they're still themselves, but they're starting to progress a little more, which is awesome. And that band is Hatebreed with their record The Concrete Confessional. Now, like I said, I don't think a lot of people will be surprised by this. It's an awesome, awesome record. A lot of really great songs, very hooky, hardcore, metalcore. You need to check it out. Hatebreed's one of my favorite bands. My favorite song off this record is entitled 7 Enemies. It's a short, kind of quick hardcore song, but what I love about it is it's just so hooky, and I think the lyrics are very relatable. Something's Off is an amazing song off this record as well. Definitely the single, very hooky, but very heavy. Still very, very heavy. Awesome stuff. Also, looking down the barrel of Today, which was the first single, had a great video in that. Is very, very cool. Very relatable lyrics. One thing I love is the fact that as they're progressing, they're still Hatebreed. Like I said, they're still Hatebreed. They still sound like themselves, but Josta has kind of been showing off more his melody and his writing on this record, which is great. The bridge of Something's Off is one of my favorite hook bridge parts in music right now. It's so good. It's so hooky. Josta shows off his clean vocal chops, which is awesome because he's so good at it. I'm such a fan of his clean vocals whenever he does them. I'm very excited for the future of Hatebreed, and this album is just awesome. The Concrete Confessional, if you're a metal fan, even a hard rock fan, you'll probably dig this. Metalcore fans, hardcore fans, you guys will love this record. It's Hatebreed. It's awesome. Definitely check it out. The Concrete Confessional, my favorite album of the year and the album I've had on repeat the most. So that's my top 10 list of it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you agree with some of the stuff you said. Hopefully you get to check out some new music, maybe, if you didn't hear it. Like I said, if there's anything you think I should check out, be sure to let me know. Hit me up on any of the social medias. Send me an email. Comment on this podcast, however you're listening. Whether you're listening on the SoundCloud, which if you are, be sure to hit the follow button to subscribe to The Harder Show on SoundCloud. Keep up with everything that's going on there. Everything always goes up first on the SoundCloud, and then from there it spreads into my other mediums from there, kind of. So definitely be sure to check that out. Leave a like on this podcast. Comment, like I said, if there's anything you want me to check out or something you agree with or something you disagree with. If you think that friggin' Hatebreed's new record wasn't that great, let me know. I may not agree with you, but I'll still talk to you about it. If you are listening on the YouTube, be sure to leave a like and dislike on this video. Comment and let me know what you think of my list. Let me know what you think of some of the choices I made. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Like I said, I always love to chat with you guys about anything. I will always answer comments, even if it takes me a day or two sometimes to see them, because sometimes I suck for checking. If I don't get the notifications, goddamn, what do you want? Of course, let me know what some of your picks are. I would love to get a top 10 list from some people just to kind of check out. Maybe check out some albums that I missed and some bands that I missed. Like I said, I feel like I've missed a lot this year, just because I was so into podcasting and the podcast. But of course, subscribe to The Harder Show on YouTube while you're there. Seriously appreciate it, guys. And of course, if you're listening to The Harder Show on iTunes, which you guys know is one of the easiest ways to listen to The Harder Show, be sure to subscribe, keep up with everything that is going on. Leave a little rating for The Harder Show, maybe. Always appreciate it. Really appreciate all the support. 2016 has been a very awesome year for me. As much as it was, there was a lot of bullshit that happened. There was a lot of negative stuff that happened in the world. My own personal life was pretty freaking great. I mean, let's be honest, but I'll talk about that more next time we talk next week, because this was strictly music related and all that kind of thing, and I want to leave it at that. But thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Big shout out to all the bands. Big shout out to my boys in Out of My League and Outshined. Again, they did not make the list just because they're my boys. They made the list because they released solid as hell music this year. So big ups to them. Definitely check them out. Check them on Facebook and all the social medias. I'll be sure to tag them in this for sure. And that is going to do it for me here today, guys. I will catch you next time on The Harder Show. Take it easy.